In this video, you're going to learn one of the most important skills in concept design, sketching. We'll start by creating a simple 2D sketch in Krita, then we'll take that idea and put it into Blender and build a basic 3D block out. The goal isn't to create a finished design. The goal is to learn how to quickly explore ideas and turn them into something you can evaluate and improve. This is the part 2 of my concept design series. In part 1, we'll cover how to collect and organize references. If you haven't watched that, I highly recommend starting there because strong references are the foundation of strong designs. For those who have already completed the part 1, let's continue. So in this lesson, we are going to focus on sketching, first in 2D Kitra and then 3D in Blender. Let's get started. Before we start sketching, I want to quickly show you some of the brush I'm using. So for most of my sketch process, I use the Bristle 5 brush, and I like that because it allows me to draw quickly and creating interesting shapes without spending too much time on doing the line art. And for fine details and sharp strokes, I switch to the basic 1 brush. Since it's much thinner, it's useful when I need more control over the specific area of the sketch. Finally, I use a small eraser. When you're sketching with a rough brush, you'll naturally get some small spikes, bump, and messy edges. Instead of trying to draw everything perfectly, I use the erase tool to clean up the silhouette and make it more sharp and clean. That's my entire sketching workflow, nothing complicated. And if you're new to sketching, don't worry too much about finding the right brush. The goal is to get your ideas onto the canvas as quickly as possible. Like any skill, sketching takes practice, but it doesn't take years to become comfortable with it. The more you sketch, the faster you'll develop and you get more comfortable in your shapes and design. Alright, so before I even begin sketching, you'll notice that I have my reference board open on the left side. The reason is simple. Reference helps eliminating confusion and prevent you from creating meaningless design. As you sketch, you'll naturally get starting new ideas and exploring different shapes. But even during the rough sketch phase, I strongly recommend keeping your reference visible at all times. I start with the machine gun and use the reference as a source of inspiration. I'm looking at the reference form, proportion, and design solution while I'm testing my own variation. Notice that I'm not copying the silhouette directly. Instead, I'm studying the general shape and design language, then adapting those ideas into something new. Because we are working with a simple silhouette at this stage, it's easy to experiment with ideas and quickly test with different shapes. And another thing I want to point out is that it's completely fine to borrow specific ideas from your reference. In fact, small details taken from a real-world object makes your design feel much more believable. You'll also see me using different colors while sketching. This helps me to separate different components and visualize how the design might be constructed. For example, I'm exploring the idea of an armor shield around the machine gun. At this stage, I don't need fully understanding on how every part works, I just need to establish the idea. The important thing is to keep the process flexible. Nothing is final. This stage is all about testing, exploring, and discovering possibilities. If something that doesn't work, erase it and try a different approach. As I move to the bottom section, I start designing the connection point that will attach to a vehicle. I choose a cylindrical connection because it's the simple and most believable mechanical solution, especially something like a turret like this. This brings me to the most important point, is every shape should have a purpose. Whenever I add a component, I want to know what role it's plays in the design. I don't want random forms that only exist to fill the empty space. That is why I keep referring back to my references throughout the entire sketch. Every part should be inspired by something real, even if the final design becomes its own unique concept. As if you're sketching, remember this. Use reference as your foundation. Understand the purpose behind the forms and your drawing, and you don't have to be afraid to modify and combine ideas to create something new. Next, I start thinking about function. Since it's a mounted machine gun, I need a way to connect the vehicle. To establish that connection, I sketch a simple cylinder mount, and this isn't a random shape. Most real turret systems use some sort of a pivot or mounting mechanism, so I'm using the same principle as a starting point. Now, we go to a very important step, creating depth. One of the easiest mistake beginner makes is that drawing everything with the same value. When every shape has the same brightness, it becomes difficult to understand which part are in the front and which part are in the behind. To solve that, I use a lighter and darker values to separate forms. If a component sits behind the object, I can make it lighter. If I want a part to stand out and appear to be like closer to the view, I can make it slightly darker. This creates a much more clear visual hierarchy and helps the sketch feel more three-dimensional. In this case, I'm creating the main mounted structure as a separated shape first. Once I'm happy with it, I move the machine gun onto its position and place it in front of the mount. Because the forms overlap and use different values, the relationship between the part becomes much easier to read. Even though this is only a rough sketch, we already thinking about construction, depth, and how different components interact with each other. That's what makes a sketch feels believable rather than very flat. I'm using the same approach throughout the sketch. Here you can see that I am creating a ammo box with very simple shape, and once I paint it, I can just move this to the position and connect it to the machine gun. At this stage, I'm not worried about perfect details. I'm focused on relationship between the parts and make sure everything feels connected. As the design develops, I continue reshape the silhouette, extending certain form and adjusting the proportion until the overall concept feels more balanced. Now, this is the good moment to talk about why many concept design fail. One of the biggest mistake artists make is collecting references and then jump straight into 3D. They open Blender, add a cube, and suddenly they have no idea on what to do next. The problem isn't the lack of reference, the problem is that they haven't created a vision yet. No matter how good your references are, you still need a stage where you can combine ideas, test shapes, and explore different possibilities. That's exactly what sketching is for. It allows you to take inspiration from multiple sources and turning them into a single design direction before you invest time in 3D. Now, as I move towards the final stage of the sketch, I start adding small details using the basic brush. These details helps defining the construction of the design and make a different components feel more integrated. Even simple lines can communicate useful information that will help later when you move into some 3D block-up phase. Just remember, we are not trying to create a beautiful illustration. We are creating a blueprint that gives us a clear direction for the next stage of the design process. And it should be like useful for you. You don't really have to explain your design to anyone. Like if you want to post it on ArtStation, like you want to share it to public, then you might be define it more better. But mostly this design is just for you. And if you can understand it, that's good. Now once I'm happy with the sketch, I take a screenshot and add it to my reference board. Now we can move it into Blender and begin the 3D sketch phase. The reason I call this as a 3D sketch is because this model is not the final design. Just like the 2D sketch, its purpose is to explore ideas, test proportion, and establish overall direction. Think of the process as a two-stage. First, we do a sketch, then we rebuild it entirely. At this stage, I keep everything extremely simple. I started with a machine gun and use a basic cube and cylinders to establish the form. I'm not worried about details, clean topology, or even how every components function. The goal is simply to get the idea into 3D. That's it. A lot of artists ask me, where should I start when I'm designing? The answer is simple. Start anywhere. I know it's a generic answer, but sometimes I begin with the main feature. Sometimes I start with the part I find most interesting. If I'm designing a vehicle, I might start with the wheels. That makes sense. And there isn't a perfect starting point. What's important is that you start. Now here's a principle that can dramatically improve your design. Don't be afraid to add more parts. Many beginners create a few large shapes and stop there. And they're wondering why the design feel flat and uninteresting. But when you compare the real world object, they are made up of many separate components. So during the sketch phase, give yourself a permission to keep stacking forms, adding layer, and try to adding like more mesh and more shape into your design. And also, I do color breaks. This isn't about creating a beautiful material, it's about organizing information. For example, I might use a olive green for the plastic and black for metal parts. By doing this, I'm already thinking about material, construction, and visual hierarchy. When it's time to create the final model and texture, Many of those decisions have already been made. This reduces the confusion later in the progress. So I don't have to think about, oh, which one needs to be this color and which one needs to be this color, because I already know what are the colors and how they actually combine. Which is really a good workflow, I think, in my opinion. And the more decision you make clear, the fewer the problems you have later. You'll also notice that I'm barely using box cutter during this phase. That's intentional. The purpose of 3D Sketch isn't to create a complex detail, it's to establish the design as quickly as possible. If I need a connection between two parts, I often place a simple cylinder between them and move on. That's it. So don't get stuck trying to solve every problem immediately, just focus on overall design first. Like I said, it's a 3D Sketch. Now, throughout this entire process, I continue using references. So even I'm adding a details, even I'm stacking a cube, everything will be made of the reference I view, because I don't really create anything random and make it like figure out later, because I just want to, even if it's just a simple cubes and a simple cylinder, that might make sense. So that is, which is really important. Always and always, when you're doing any details and when you're adding something, just make sure that it's makes sense, and also it based on references. And also you can test and remove the object if it doesn't works. Like you don't really have to finalize everything. Like if your 3D sketch looks like this, it doesn't have to mean like it looks same in the final design. Things can be changed. You can add parts, and then in final design you might not add parts. Then you didn't do some work, maybe you do in the final design. So everything would be like very loose and not very straight. Just keep everything like exploring and see trial and errors. And if something works, that's good. If something doesn't, just change it. One of the most important skills in concept design is adaptability. The ability to evaluate your design, make adjustment, and keep improving the design is far more valuable than trying to get everything right on the first attempt. Before we moving on, I want to share one final tip that helped me tremendously. Take break. When you're working for a long period without slipping away, it's easy to make a rush decision or become blind to problems in the design. Personally, I like to work for about 40 to 60 minutes, then I take a short break, I'll go outside, walk around, or simply rest for a few minutes. When I come back, I look at the design with fresh eyes. Very often, new ideas appear during this break, and problems that seems difficult suddenly becomes obvious. Like, suddenly I got ideas about, why can't I just add a cable, or why can't I just alter this shape? And when I'm looking at my design, then I feels like, oh, this shape not feels good, so I might have to change it into something different. When you're constantly working, you may not notice it because you'll be in the rush phase and thinking about, oh, I have to finish this. So you might be neglect some of the errors in your design. So that is why you need to give yourself a break, and then when you view again, you have a clear direction on how to continue the design. At this point, some of you might be wondering, why don't you make a step-by-step tutorial? It's a fair question. The reason is simple. If I tell you every modeling step, all you learn is how to recreate the specific design. You'll be able to follow my process, but you won't necessarily know how to create your own concept. And that's not the goal of the series. The goal is to teach you on how to think like concept designer and how to not copy what I'm doing. To be honest, this approach is more difficult than following a traditional tutorial. In a step-by-step tutorial, most of the decisions are already made for you. In a concept design, the responsibility is on you. You have to decide what works. You have to decide what doesn't. You have to solve problems and make design decisions. That feels uncomfortable, but that's exactly where the growth happens. Welcome to the concept design. For the first time, you're not just learning software, you're learning how to think. Every problem solved builds experience. Every design decision teaches you something. And that's the skill I'm trying to develop. So don't focus on copying my design. Focus on understanding why I'm making certain decisions and how you can apply those ideas to your own work. Now, coming back to the design itself, one thing I always try to avoid is leaving large areas completely flat. Whenever I see a shape that feels too simple, I start experimenting. Maybe I add an edge and lift the part and see how it looks. Maybe I rotate the shape in a different direction and see how it looks. Maybe I run a boolean on certain areas to see how they connect. I mean like how they affect. The goal isn't to find the perfect solution immediately. The goal is to explore possibilities, and that takes time. a lot of time. And one thing I've learned is that the only way you can get past bad designs is to create bad designs. Your first concept design probably won't look great, neither your second or your third, but every design teaches something. The fifth design will be better than your first. The 10th will be better than your fifth. That's how improvement works. So don't compare your work to mine or other artists. If someone is creating better designs, it's usually because they've gone through this process many more times. They've made more mistakes, they solve more problems, they put on more repetition and accept the reality, keep practicing and keep designing. That's how we can get better. Throughout this 3D sketch, you'll notice that I'm constantly stacking more shapes onto the design. But here's something important. None of the shapes are random. Even if it's just a cube and cylinders, there's usually a reason for adding it. The form are simple, but they are intentional. And another thing I do quite often is borrowing ideas from multiple references. Sometimes you'll see an interesting detail or any shape in a design that feels worth exploring. If you act like it, test it, add it to your design and see how it looks. Just remember, concept design isn't about copying a single references, it's about combining different ideas from multiple sources and create something new. As your confidence grows, as your skills grow, you'll naturally add more of your own designs and design solution as well. So yeah. Now let me explain why we go through multiple stages instead of jumping directly into final model. Some of you might be wondering, why create 2D sketch, then why create 3D sketch, and then why rebuild everything again? The 2D sketch helps me to create the 3D sketch, and the 3D sketch helps me to create the final design. So each stage gives me information and reduce the uncertainty. By the time I reach my final model, many of the major design decisions have already been explored and tested. The second reason is that I treat the 3D sketch as a testing phase. This is where I can find how the design feels in 3 dimension, and I can also evaluate the proportion, the relationship between the parts, and whether the concept actually works from different angles. Sometimes an idea looks great in a sketch but falls apart once it's placed in 3D. It's much better to discover those problems here than during the final modeling stage. When I eventually rebuild the design, I'm no longer guessing. I already know what works and I already know what doesn't. That allows me to focus on detail, construction, and refinement instead of constantly redesigning major parts of the concept. So while these extra stages might seem like more work, they actually saves time. Every stage removes confusion, improves design making, and makes the final design process much smoother. That is why I consider them as an essential part of the concept design. Now, here's an interesting question. How do I make my design sci-fi or near future? After all, we are designing something from the future. Nobody actually knows what future technology will look like. So why not just create completely a new shape? A believable future usually built on things that already exist today. That is why I often start with modern technology and then push it slightly forward rather than trying to invent everything from scratch. For example, I might change proportion, simplify certain forms, add new things, and see how they look. The foundation is still realistic, but the final design feels more advanced. Because from my perspective, believability is important. If a design feels like it could be manufactured, assembled, or maintained, and used by a real person, then I've done something right. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm done learning. I still want to improve my ability to create strong sci-fi designs and push my ideas further. Like, I just want to improve in making the futuristic models. That's a skill I'm continuing to develop, but for now, my focus is on creating design that feels grounded, functional, and believable. I'd rather make a realistic design with purpose than a futuristic design that feels random. And that's the mindset I'm bringing into this project. With that, the 3D sketch is complete. At this point, I encourage you to try the same process. Start with a simple subject, create a few 2D sketch variation, then choose your favorite one and develop into 3D sketch. And remember that the 3D sketch isn't the final design, it's just a reference we gather to solve problems and build confidence before moving into something like a real design. In the next part of the series, we'll take this 3D sketch and begin to turning into something like fully detailed concept. We'll focus on refinement, improving the connections, and make things believable.